All right, joining the Porn Crush studio today by Lucky Ann. Lucky is making some waves in the adult industry right now. She's really surging, kind of not a complete rookie. She's been in for a little while, but she's really kind of going at things full force right now and doing so well. Lucky, tell us a little bit about your background, first of all, what you were doing before you entered the adult
Yeah,
industry.
first of all, thank you for having me. And
Yes.
I
Hmm.
was in university. I got my degree in psychology and I was working as a counselor for about a year. And during then, I was kind of
Hmm.
modeling for fun and I realized I was good at it. And I decided that I wanted to change my career and I quit my job and I started modeling full time. And then I moved to LA, and that's when I started doing OnlyFans. And it started off with solo work, and then I started doing collabs with male talent, and then I joined the industry around November of 2022.
Right, right. Okay. Just to backtrack a little bit, even though you didn't end up going down this path with your career, tell us initially about what you kind of had planned to do with your life and a little bit more about what you were studying in school and what you were thinking you might
Yeah,
end up
so
doing.
my plan was to take a year or two off to get more experience in the work field, and then I wanted to apply to PhD programs. I wanted to get my doctorate in
Hmm.
psychology and be a psychologist and have my own private practice. And I kind of did
Hmm.
the math for the soonest I could do that, and I would be 30, so I would spend 20 plus years from, beginning school to graduating and being completely done with school. And I kind of just had
Hmm.
I can be a psychologist, a doctor anytime, really. And modeling was really
Hmm.
what was making me passionate and making me happy. Um, as much as I love mental health and the mental health care field, it's really a draining environment. It's you have to be 100% on your best with your patients, and I just wasn't 100% my best. So I
Yeah.
decided to switch that and kind of shift gears and try something completely new.
Right. Okay. What about growing up, in your late teenage years, college years, and all? What kind of girl were you? Were you a partier? Were you a bookworm? Were you hooking up all the time? Like, what was your life kind of like during those formative
Yeah,
years? I guess
I've
you would call
always been a bookworm. I've always gotten good grades,
them.
but I do have to say I look back and I kind of regret not being single during college because I definitely would have had a
Yeah.
lot more fun. But I was definitely still a party girl.
Hmm.
Um, Tried to find a balance
Yeah.
between the two, but I know if I was single, I would have gotten into a lot more trouble.
Yeah. What was partying like at your where you were in school? Was it like house parties? Was it nightclubs? Was it bars? Like, what was your kind of stuff that
Yeah.
you did that you liked
So,
that you thought was fun?
it was mostly I was dating a frat boy. So we would have parties at his
Hmm.
frat or just, in Greek town, whatever. And then we would also go to the bars and the clubs. My favorite personally was always the clubs because I loved getting dressed up and going dancing.
Hmm. Yeah. Are you a good dancer? You get
Yeah, I'm a
into it?
little extra with it.
Huh? You are. I love it. Well, a lot of twerking, or
Yeah, yeah,
what's
that's when
extra
I
for
would
you?
get told to calm down.
Yeah. What did you like about growing up in Chicago? Because that is where you spent most of your childhood. Like, Chicago lately I think has kind of gotten some bad publicity just for some of the crime and stuff. But did you enjoy,
Yeah, I mean,
growing
I
up
can't
there?
really say that I grew up in Chicago. I was in a suburb,
Mhm.
but so for me it was a different experience, but I enjoyed it going there for,
Yeah.
field trips or just to go to the beach and it's beautiful. I love Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. I do too. I've been there a lot. Were there signs, you know, that you can maybe look back when you look back at your early life and think that's a sign right there that I was destined for sex work
Yeah.
or nude modeling, or porn, or whatever it was? What what were some signs that
Yeah,
this
there's
might be
definitely
the
a
career
couple
for you?
signs. when I was younger, my mom found my journal, and I basically wrote that I
Mhm,
couldn't wait to start like having sex, and that was a conversation.
mhm,
And then actually, when I moved to LA for modeling, my mom actually called it before I
mhm.
did that I would join the pro scene. And yeah, so thankfully she's been very supportive through all of it. My mom has always encouraged me to, be myself, and she trusts me. And as long as I'm taking care of myself and I'm safe, she's happy.
Now I know you mentioned having a kind of a long term boyfriend for about 5 years. I think you said when we when we talked offline. And were you still? I mean, was sex still a big part of your life in terms of were you watching porn? Were you thinking about it all the time? Like, what was kind of your take on sex and sex
Yeah,
before high
I've
school?
been watching porn for a very long time, so that didn't change. I had a lot of sex in my relationship. Honestly, probably still the best sex that I've had. So I was definitely being
Hmm.
pleased and happy. The only thing is that like sometimes he would compare me to some of the like female talent. So now, like knowing their names, I kind of like want to work with them, like Callie Rose. So,
Hmm.
hmm
Oh, Callie Roses. Yeah, yeah. She's a good one. She's very, very popular. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Um, what about that? You mentioned doing modeling before you kind of got into adult work. What kind of was it? Just nude modeling, like still photos, or
Yeah, so the way
what were
I
you
kind
doing?
of joined like modeling was like on Instagram. So I would have mutuals that were shooting with photographers, and then I would just like DM them and see if they were down to collab. It started off just like
Hmm.
fashion, and then it moved into boudoir within like a month of me shooting. So I was doing a lot of lingerie shoots, and that was like the niche that I really liked.
Yeah, yeah. How did being in front of the camera make you feel? Is it a powerful feeling? What are the emotions that go
Yeah,
through you when you're
I've
doing that?
always been like just glued to the camera and like mirrors. Like I just love knowing that I'm being looked at. I don't know. So I always enjoyed it. It honestly,
Hmm.
being in front of the camera and modeling really like invigorated a new sense of confidence for me.
Okay. So you started OnlyFans, and initially you're doing solo content. You mix in a little boy girl there after a while, and you get discovered right by an agency. Is that kind of what the path
Yeah, so
that
I
you
was
took?
staying with a roommate in LA at the time, and I had like bounced the idea back and forth with her like so many times about, applying to agencies. And there was one morning we were on our balcony just like smoking, hanging out, and I'm, complaining about like my current circumstances, and she just like looks me dead in the eyes and she's like, "Well, why don't you just do it? Like just do it. Like fill out the application and send it."
Mhm.
So she really was the one that I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, I can just do it." And that's what I did. I sent out a few applications, and then I got signed in November 2022.
Right, right. Okay. And when we've talked before, I know that there was some frustration early on for whatever reason. You weren't getting the bookings that you'd hoped, and you had some health issues. Things got off to a slow start. Um, how did you kind of stay strong and stay driven, and and kind of persevere through that rough patch you went through? Most of the first half of 2023, I guess, or for all of 2023 for the most part. Did you hear me there, Lucky?
Yeah, so I kind of have been working on checking myself when I find myself having a victim complex. Like whenever I find myself thinking, "Oh, like the
Yeah.
world is conspiring against me," or, this and this isn't working out, so it's a
Hmm.
sign that I should just give up and not do it. But I kind of saw them as like obstacles to overcome, like mountains to push through. And I
Hmm.
just kept going. I wasn't going to give up. I set some very high expectations for myself, and I kind of like reassessed and kind of like checked in with myself and reminded myself that there's no race. I can take my time, and yeah, just having faith, really.
Yeah, yeah. And when that happens, it's rarely a reflection of the performer. I mean, maybe your agent wasn't working hard enough. Maybe the right people didn't hear about you, or whatever. I mean, it's obvious that you do such a great job, and I'm glad you stuck it out. Was there a moment when things really started to turn, and your spirits were kind of lifted and elevated, and you thought, hey, we're on the right path now?
I definitely would say ABN, like when I went to
Mm-hmm.
ABN for the first time this January, and I really wasn't expecting much at all, and I was just completely like
Mm-hmm.
blown away with like the recognition and like the support and just all the fans like coming up to meet me, and like most of them didn't know who I was, which I figured, but it was just nice that they still like took the time out of their day to like stop and talk to me and like get to know me. um and then of course being around
Mm-hmm.
like all the other stars, that was great too. um
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of when I had like the realization like, okay, like I'm doing it.
Hmm. I remember walking past the East Coast booth a day or two into it, and I was with a friend of mine, and I did a double take, and I was like, "Who is that?" And he was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Let's go." He's like, "We got to find out." And you had some fans around you, so I didn't approach, but I saw you, and I saw your picture, and I was like, I just made a mental note, like, we got to watch out for her. She's
Aw.
a hottie, and I could tell you're interacting really well with people, which is a huge part of it. So you left there feeling how? Like just
Yeah, yeah,
rejuvenated
like I
or
left there
confident?
feeling like more sure, like more confident, more like at peace, more like okay, like it's okay, like I'm doing okay, everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about the last. I guess it's been about 4 months now, 4 full months since then. You're with East Coast Talent, very very good, reputable agency. What have been some what have been some highlights for you these past
Yeah,
3 or 4 months?
I've been so happy with the amount of companies that I've been working with. I've definitely had more of a variety.
Mm.
Like, I got to work with Evil Angel and Hustler and Naughty America, and there's a few other in the works. And that's just been really cool to see that there have been more bookings for me available. And being on set and,
Mhm.
meeting the crew and meeting the talent and, delivering a great performance. Just all of that has been so fulfilling. And there really hasn't been a
Yeah.
point where I've kind of felt like, what am I doing? Like everything, like I don't question it. Before, when I would show up to, all my other retail jobs, like I would have such bad anxiety and I would hate going to work and I would dread it.
Mhm.
And like doing this, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you get butterflies when you before these scenes? Are you still kind of dealing with the newcomer nerves, or are you just kind of in your element
Um,
and don't get nervous at
yeah,
all?
like I do get like nervous, I do get butterflies, but I remind myself that it's just because I care. Like I want to put on a good performance and I want, just everyone to be happy. But I like whenever I tell people that like I'm nervous or I'm anxious, like they're like, I can't tell. So I think I do a pretty good job at keeping it together and getting out of my head
Yeah,
really.
yeah. And then I'm sure once the cameras flick on, you're just doing what you do best and
Yeah.
probably don't think about it anymore. What are some scenes that what's a type of scene that you get real excited about, like um, where you think your role is the
Yeah,
most?
I haven't been able to do this like type of scene, but and I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology,
Hmm.
but more like glamour shoots where like it's like the full beat face, lingerie, stockings, heels, like just really like that elevated just aesthetic look. I like being like dressed to the tens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get that opportunity because there's a lot of studios. Have you worked with Nubiles yet? I think that you
Not
would do
yet,
a
but it's in
great
the
job with them,
works.
particularly. Yeah, 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 yeah. That happens. Okay. What else did I have for you? Um, obviously you get a lot of attention for your backside. Romeo
Mhm.
Mancini is a good friend of mine, and I saw that you shot with him recently, so I texted him and asked him how you did, and he's like, "She's got one of the best asses in the business." He was like, So excited. Does that, has it always been that way for you? Has that always kind of been a calling card for you?
You broke up at the last part of that,
Yeah.
so what did you say about the calling card?
Oh, yeah. I was saying, like, has your butt always been something that people talk about,
Yes,
something
I
you get noticed
remember.
for? Like
Maybe
that?
like when I was in high school, I had asked someone because it was just like a thing going around of like, what's the first thing you notice about someone? So I was like, what's? And I asked a girl like on
Mhm.
top of that, and she was like, your butt. I was like, oh, okay, like not my face, not like anything else, but yes, my butt has
Right.
always been the attention.
Yeah, right. Not that there's anything wrong with
No,
the
right.
rest, but I just know that. Are you someone that goes to the gym a lot? Is your body just kind of naturally in great shape like that,
Yeah,
or do you have to put a lot of work into it?
I was really consistent in the gym from like 2019 till like 2022. I was in the gym like
Hmm.
catch me like 6 days a week, like weightlifting, all of it. But
Yeah.
recently, I've been doing more like yoga and like stretching. So I do stretch every
Mhm.
single day. I am active every single day, but my body like really has just always been like this. Going to the gym just kind of makes me
Yeah.
more toned.
Right. I got you. I got you. As we get really into 2024 here, have you set goals for yourself? Things you want to check off of a list, or how are you approaching
Yeah,
things
yeah. I
moving
actually
forward?
have in my notes. I have like a 5 year like goals, and then I have like a short term by the end of the
Oh,
year
wow.
goals. So there's like a couple companies that I want to work with, a few specific talent that I want to work with. Some like following milestones with my like social media accounts, and yeah, just kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah. Social media can be a job in itself, right? I mean, just the time and effort you have to put into it. Kind of explain your approach with your platforms, and the kind of content you
Yeah,
like to post.
so I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't really like taking like pictures of myself, like setting the camera up and like doing all the angles. I like to just get a professional to take all my pictures of me. So that's been my favorite professional pictures. I started on
Yeah.
Instagram, so I've had Instagram for a couple years, but Twitter I made it'll be a year in June. So I really was able to build
Hmm.
my Twitter, I think, by just posting daily, like they all say, um, sharing my
Yeah.
content, and yeah, I've always been very like particular about how I want things to look. So that I think keeps me
Yeah.
from posting more than I probably would. I've been trying to get out of this like perfectionist
Mhm.
mindset.
Yep. Yep. I got you. I got you. Okay. Cool. Well, Lucky, let's do the last little segment of the interview that we call quick pops. Just like a few kind of direct, questions about the industry. Um, Starting off, when it comes to uh, men, what's a turn on? What's something a guy that can do that can really turn you on?
Honestly, to make me laugh, like to just make me like comfortable enough
Mhm.
and have that sense of humor, like that's a really big turn on for me.
I feel like so many girls answer that question that way. You know, I'm gonna start. I need to go start learning some jokes or something. No, girls love to laugh. That's great. What about turn offs? Things that'll make you turn away pretty quick.
Honestly, like mansplaining me, like if we're like talking about a conversation and you're
Mhm.
just like not really caring about what I'm saying and you're just trying to like make me believe what you're saying. Um yeah, just
Yeah.
anything kind of like
Yeah.
that where you're trying like you're like under like meaning me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I meant to ask you before we started Quick Pops too. Um, what are your thoughts on girls, like sex with women? I mean, are you bisexual? Do you enjoy those kind of scenes? Kind of
Yeah,
where you
I
stand on girl
actually
girl.
had my gay awakening like right when I started in the industry. I realized that I liked girls, so yeah, I am
Hmm.
bisexual.
Okay. Who have you worked done many scenes with? That involved girl
I
girl action
haven't
and.
done like just a girl scene, but I've done like threesomes.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Uh, what's something like a performer or a director can do to really put you at ease? maybe before a scene starts? Like, let's say you're on set and it's about to start. What can they do to kind of
For me,
calm
like just
things down?
compliment me. Like if I'm like receiving like any sort of like words of affirmation, like that definitely puts me like at ease.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have a porn crush? Since the site's called Porn Crush, is there anyone in the industry that you've always kind of, wanted to hook up
Yeah,
with or
my
work
biggest
with?
porn crush is Sky Blue. I met her at the
Oh,
AVN award show, and I spilled my drink all over her when she made eye contact with me. So that was great.
how did that happen? Now, were you
Yeah, we were
standing up?
standing,
Was
and
one of you
I
sitting
just yeah,
down?
I lost control.
Wow.
Oh,
So
she,
how did
she's
she
like, "Are you
react?
okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm great."
Did you tell her you were nervous? Were you like, did you kind of fan out a
I
little
kept my
bit, or did you keep your
composure. I
composure in
didn't
that
want to
sense?
fangirl out on her,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, that's a good one. You've got good taste. What about like the bag that you take to set? Is there something that you always have to have in there when you go to
Yeah, so I
go to work?
have to always have my full like shower routine, like my towel, my body wash, my lotion. I even bring like my makeup and
Hmm.
my hairbrush. I bring a bunch of clothes, wardrobe. I try to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah, gotcha, gotcha. Is there anything that you've discovered about yourself sexually, that whether it could be a kink or a fetish or whatever, that maybe you didn't know existed before you got into
You
the
know,
industry?
I haven't like actually experimented with it yet, but I've been like really enjoying watching it, like water sports. Um, that's been
Hmm.
interesting. But I haven't like done it myself, so I can't really say if I would enjoy it. But I've been pretty vanilla
Yeah,
in my lifetime, so I'm hoping
yeah,
that I start having more experiences that like brightens my horizons.
yeah. Are you more like, from your experiences so far? Are you more into kind of like the soft, sensual sexual experience, or do you like rough, or what's your preference
Yeah,
when it
I
comes to
would
that,
say
or
both.
both?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. Um, let's say that I don't want to say been starving yourself, but you've had a big scene coming up. You didn't want to eat too much before, and now the scene's over. What restaurant are you running to, or what meal are you hoping to eat
Yeah.
after a long day?
I love ordering Mediterranean food like when I'm shooting. Like that's
Mm.
always good. That's my go-to is usually Mediterranean food because I am a vegetarian, so I feel like that gives me pretty good
Oh,
options.
yeah. Give me some specifics
Oh
you like in
yeah, I
that
love a good
Mediterranean
falafel
food.
wrap. Just like a salad.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty basic like
Yeah,
that.
got all that stuff too. Okay. Um, TV shows. Are you a TV person? Do you like to sit around and
Yes,
veg out
I am
on an off?
definitely a TV person. Growing up, I was really into like Criminal Minds and Law and Order SVU,
Hmm.
Grey's Anatomy, that sort of thing. I've been dabbling into like more shows that were on when I was like really young that I watched but don't really remember, like The OC and Gossip Girl and One Tree Hill. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of shows.
What do you like to do on an off day? Like, what are some of your hobbies and passions away from the industry in your
Yeah.
normal life?
So like I said, I'll go to the gym. Always make sure to
Yeah,
have like a 30
yeah.
minute walk outside of the house to get some fresh air. It's so pretty in California. Like I'm not used to it being from the Midwest, so even just like going to the
Mhm.
beach or like driving around. I live a pretty simple life. I'm really into like makeup and skincare and clothes. So I'll like research about that or
Gotcha,
just, make like catalogs of that sort of thing. But yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Have you met anyone in the industry that's kind of become a friend or someone to hang out with? Or are you still kind of in that early stage where you don't know a whole lot
Yeah,
of people yet?
I definitely don't know a whole lot of people yet, but I have made some friends. Just not specifically like in the industry. Like, yes, they're sex
Yeah.
workers, but they're not like in the pro scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Good. Good. Well, look, yeah, sure. Appreciate you taking the time with us today. Like I said, I knew back in January we wanted to get you on here at some point, and I'm excited for you.
Thank
I keep hearing
you.
great things, and your social media is awesome. So let's keep in touch and do this again
Yeah, I'd love
maybe later
that. Thank
this
you
year.
for
Okay.
having me again.